Hello everyone, Darren from DrayTek Australia and New Zealand. Today we'll discuss how to secure IoT devices from cyber threats using DrayTek's powerful security features. This is a continuation of our first IoT webinar. If you haven't checked that one out, I'll leave a link in the description below. In today's presentation, we'll look at what the risks and vulnerabilities of IoT are, security features in DrayTek routers that can help protect IoT devices, and at the end we'll demonstrate how to use a couple of them. First, a quick recap of what was covered in the first webinar. IoT, or the Internet of Things, refers to a vast network of interconnected devices that communicate and exchange data with each other over the Internet. Today, there are billions of IoT devices deployed worldwide, with projections estimating that this number will continue to skyrocket in the coming years. By 2050, we're expecting over 100 billion IoT devices worldwide. DrayTek routers can connect IoT devices either wired or wirelessly and have additional settings like VLAN, QoS, VPN, high availability and load balancing, which are important features that can integrate IoT devices for optimal performance. However, IoT devices face multiple security challenges. That includes weak authentication and authorization. Many IoT devices lack strong authentication protocols, making them vulnerable to unauthorized access. Insecure firmware and software. Outdated software and firmware on IoT devices can contain unpatched vulnerabilities, providing entry points for attackers. Poor encryption standards. Many IoT devices have weak or no encryption, allowing attackers to intercept and manipulate data in transit. Exposed communication protocols. Many IoT devices communicate over insecure protocols, for example HTTP rather than HTTPS, or use default ports, making network traffic vulnerable. Insecure APIs. IoT applications often rely on APIs to transfer data between devices and systems. If these APIs are insecure, they expose sensitive data and control functions to attackers. Then there are privacy risks such as data collection and storage. IoT devices often collect sensitive personal data, and inadequate data protection measures can lead to privacy violations if data is leaked, stolen, or misused. And tracking and surveillance. IoT devices can track users' movements, habits, and even location, posing privacy risks if the wrong person gets hold of it. Then we have botnet and distributed denial of service, that's DDoS attacks. IoT devices with weak security are often targeted and exploited to form botnets, which are then used to launch large-scale DDoS attacks. The infamous Mirai botnet, for example, exploited vulnerable IoT devices to carry out massive attacks. Okay, let's check out some common issues with some IoT devices. The first one we'll look at is security cameras. Unsecured devices with unpatched security vulnerabilities have been targets for malware that can allow unauthorized access, potentially compromising privacy. For example, the previously mentioned Mirai botnet exploited weak security in many IP cameras, making them part of a larger botnet for distributed denial of service attacks. The second example is smart thermostats. These are connected to the internet and can be vulnerable if not properly secured. Malware can be used to exploit these devices to alter settings or gain further access to a home network. Next, we have connected printers. These can be exploited by malware, allowing hackers to intercept documents or gain access to a network. Malware targeting printers can lead to data breaches or sensitive information leaks. Smart fridges. You may not think a fridge could be a security risk, but internet-connected smart refrigerators have been found to have vulnerabilities that could allow attackers to access other devices on a network, or they can be used to launch attacks. Some wearable fitness devices, such as Fitbits and smartwatches, can be targeted to extract personal data or potentially gain access to other connected apps, leading to privacy concerns. Smart TVs can also be hacked to gather personal information or access home networks. Malware targeting smart TVs may also be used to conduct surveillance. Similarly, a lot of cheap Android TV boxes have been found to contain built-in backdoors, which could be used to upload malware if they don't contain it already. I'll leave a link to a video from Linus Tech Tips on this topic below. Number 7 on our list is home assistance. If security measures are inadequate, these devices can be exploited, potentially allowing hackers to eavesdrop on or manipulate other devices. At number 8, we have smart locks. These locks can be compromised, allowing unauthorized access to homes. Malware that targets smart locks could exploit vulnerabilities, resulting in physical security breaches. Internet-connected locks and garage doors have been known to have security holes that can be exploited to gain entry into homes or garages if security measures are inadequate. And last on our list is smart appliances. This includes kitchen appliances such as smart ovens or microwaves. These can also be exploited if security measures are inadequate, allowing attackers to manipulate their functions or access other parts of a home network. All these examples highlight the importance of securing IoT devices with strong passwords, regular firmware updates, and network segmentation to minimize vulnerabilities. Okay, now let's look at how IoT devices can be secured by utilizing the security features of DrayTek routers. These routers have several built-in security features to help protect networks and devices from various threats. Key security features include firewall protection. The advanced DrayTek router firewall includes stateful packet inspection, SPI, to filter incoming and outgoing traffic, protecting against unauthorized access. VPNs can provide secure remote access to IoT devices if you need to access them from outside the local network. VPN tunnels encrypt data in transit, ensuring data privacy and protection. Note that the latest DrayOS 5 routers support IPsec, OpenVPN, and WireGuard. Denial of service protection is a built-in feature of DrayTek routers. It safeguards the network from attacks that attempt to overload the router to interrupt its service. Another security feature that can be used in DrayTek routers is access control. You can set up an access control list, that's an ACL, to restrict network access based on source IP addresses, ports, or specific protocols. This helps prevent unauthorized devices from connecting to the network. Content filtering is also available in DrayTek routers. This blocks harmful sites and restricts categories prone to malware. Since most IoT devices are connected to the internet via Wi-Fi, it's essential to have good Wi-Fi security. DrayTek routers offer various Wi-Fi security features, including WPA3 encryption to ensure a secure wireless network. They also support guest networks to isolate visitors from the main network. For DrayTek routers to provide the best protection for IoT devices, it's recommended to always have the latest firmware installed. DrayTek regularly provide firmware updates which include security patches to address any newly discovered vulnerabilities. Other DrayTek router features like port forwarding and network address translation, that's NAT, help securely route traffic between external and internal networks while preventing unauthorized access. Now let's take a look at how some of those security features of DrayTek routers can be utilized to protect IoT devices. The first step is to provide secure network access to the IoT devices. This can be done by using VLANs to isolate them from critical business or personal devices. This helps prevent attacks on IoT devices from spreading to other parts of the network. Next, we can enable access control. Here we can use an access control list on the DrayTek router to block unauthorized devices or restrict IoT devices' access to specific services or networks. Next, we can look at setting up the router firewall to control traffic between IoT devices and the network, blocking untrusted incoming traffic. For example, you can block incoming traffic to IoT devices unless it's from trusted sources or specific protocols. Also, stateful packet inspection can be enabled to inspect traffic flow and detect suspicious or unauthorized data packets that may be attempting to exploit vulnerabilities in IoT devices. If you need to manage IoT devices from the internet, do it over a VPN. This ensures that device management traffic is encrypted and cannot be intercepted online. Also, if feasible, you can set up a VPN tunnel for IoT devices to communicate securely over the internet, protecting data from being eavesdropped on or tampered with. In addition, using web content filtering or URL filtering will also provide extra protection. DrayTek's web content filter will block IoT devices from accessing potentially dangerous or malicious websites. This helps prevent devices from being used in botnets or attacked via untrusted web services. URL filtering can also be used to limit the domains that IoT devices can connect to, reducing the risk of malware or phishing. As mentioned earlier, since most IoT devices are connected to the internet via Wi-Fi, it's essential to have the best Wi-Fi security. So ensure IoT devices use WPA3 encryption. This provides the highest level of wireless security. Also disable older insecure protocols like WEP or WPA2. DrayTek Routers also support guest networks to isolate visitors from the main network. One way this can be used is to put all IoT devices on a guest network. This will prevent them from interacting directly with sensitive data or systems on the main network. As an additional layer of protection, you can also enable the DrayTek Router Denial of Service Protection feature. This will guard against DDoS attacks targeting your IoT devices. The router can automatically block or rate limit traffic that exceeds normal levels, preventing IoT devices from being overwhelmed. Also, as mentioned earlier, ensure that the router has the latest firmware installed to address any security vulnerabilities. Similarly, keep IoT devices up to date with their latest firmware to mitigate known threats. In addition, unnecessary port forwarding for IoT devices should be avoided. Forward only ports that are required for specific devices or services, and restrict the external IP addresses that can access those ports. You can use NAT to hide internal IoT device IP addresses, making it harder for attackers to target them directly from the internet. Detecting suspicious activity in IoT devices is crucial for maintaining network security. In recent years, IoT bots involved in DDoS attacks have skyrocketed from 200,000 in 2022 to nearly 1 million today, now accounting for 40% of DDoS traffic. Cybercriminals target insecure IoT devices to disrupt telecom networks and critical services. Bot malware designed to scan for vulnerabilities is widespread in telecom systems, fueling various IoT botnets. With billions of devices like smart fridges and wearables in use, many still lack adequate security measures, making them easy targets. Some tips to help identify potential threats. The first one is to monitor device behavior. This includes looking for unusual activities such as random reboots, slow performance, or unexpectedly turning on and off devices. Also look for audio and video anomalies. If your devices have cameras or microphones, these can be strange sounds or recording patterns that don't align with normal usage. Next, analyze network traffic for unusual activity. This can be done using a network monitoring tool such as Wireshark or Glasswire. Here, look for unusual spikes or patterns that could indicate unauthorized access. Then, run a connected devices check by regularly scanning your network to see all connected devices and verifying that you recognize each one. An unknown device can be a sign of a security breach. Third on our list is examining device logs. Here you can check for unauthorized login attempts or unusual access patterns. Analyze the timestamps and IP addresses to identify suspicious activity. Fourth is conducting port scans. You can use tools like Nmap to scan your router for open ports. Unnecessary open ports may pose a security risk, making your devices more vulnerable to attacks. It's recommended to regularly assess your IoT devices and network configuration. Look for any changes or anomalies that may indicate a security issue. And lastly is to set up alerts. Some network monitoring tools allow setting up alerts for specific behaviors, such as a new device connecting to the network or unusual traffic spikes. An alert can facilitate a quicker response to any potential threats. DrayTek routers also have some monitoring tools, including the NAT session table. Here you can monitor and track active IP addresses and ports, helping identify unusual or unauthorized traffic. In this example, we've configured a port redirect to allow RDP access from public port 8088 to the local IP 192.168.1.11 on port 3389. You can view this connection in the NAT session table, where the third row here shows a connection from IP address 203.44.144.230 using port 8088 to 192.168.1.11 on port 3389. To check if someone has potentially accessed your IoT devices, such as an IP camera, you can review the NAT session table for any unknown IPs connecting to those devices. Another one is using the data flow monitor to monitor bandwidth usage in real time, helping identify network congestion or abnormal traffic patterns. In this example, we can see the real-time bandwidth usage of PC with IP address 192.168.1.11 del-2. The TX rate, that's the upload speed, is 2.93 megs, and the RX rate, that's the download speed, is 38.61 megs, with a total of 34 NAT sessions, which could be quite normal depending on the device. However, if you observe unusually high TX rates and a large number of NAT sessions, it could indicate a compromised IoT device constantly uploading data to an external server. In this event, you can quickly use the block action to stop the connection and recommend discontinuing use of the IoT device. Okay, let's take a look at some example configurations. The first is to set up a firewall rule to block IoT devices from accessing the internet, but still allow them to be used locally. This can be easily done in firewall settings. Go to Firewall Filter Setup and create a filter rule to block LAN to WAN traffic for the IoT device, which in our case is IP address 192.168.1.11. Set the destination IP to any and service type to any as well. Then select Filter Set as Block Immediately. Now, nothing is getting out from that device. Another good practice mentioned earlier is to set up a separate LAN for IoT devices, such as IP cameras. This isolates them on their own VLAN, so if a hacker gains access to a compromised device, they won't be able to access the rest of the network. To set this up, go to LAN General Setup and enable LAN 2, where LAN 2 is the LAN allocated for IoT devices. Next, click on the Details page to configure the LAN 2 DHCP settings. Now go to LAN VLAN. In this example, we're using port-based VLAN. For port P5, select VLAN 1 and assign it to the LAN 2 subnet. The remaining ports and wireless LANs are assigned to LAN 1, which is VLAN 0 in this case. By default, interLAN routing is disabled, so the IoT LAN, that is anything connected to port P5, is now isolated from the main LAN. If a hacker manages to access an IoT device now, they're going to have a pretty tough time trying to access anything else. And we've reached the end of this webinar. Some of the key takeaways today are: IoT devices present significant security challenges. DrayTek routers offer advanced security features, including firewalls, VPNs, and access controls. Implementing best practices like VLANs, firewall rules, and firmware updates enhances IoT security. And regular monitoring and proactive security measures prevent malware infections. Okay, that's all for now, but please stay tuned. We'll be answering questions in the live chat on the right of your screen for the next 5 minutes. For more information about DrayTek products, please check out our website at www.draytek.com.au or send us an email to sales@draytek.com.au or give us a call on 02 9838 8899. Please like and subscribe below, and if you'd like a notification anytime we put up a new video, please select all from the subscribe drop-down menu as well. Thanks and bye for now.